Welcome back. This is your substitute video lesson teacher, Mr. Anderson. I will be going over the grouping method for factoring today. So the steps to group for factoring is the first step would be multiplying your A and C. So it'll be just like our area model. We want to find two numbers, and from those we want to find two values that add to get your B value, which we're going to use our factor trees again. We're going to rewrite our expression by replacing the x terms with the two factors, like we did for the box method. But here we're going to change it up a little bit. So here we group the first two terms and the last two terms using parentheses. Then we're going to find and divide out the greatest common factor of each set of parentheses, and then write the greatest common factor in front of each set of parentheses. So they're kind of our leftovers. So then we group the greatest common factors to create a set of parentheses, and so we kind of match them up so the greatest common factors are in parentheses and the leftovers are in parentheses. So then to identify what our A, B, and C are. So A is 1, B is negative 11, C is 24. A times 24 would be 24. B is negative 11. So we were looking for factors of 24 that add to each other to get us negative 11. So here, because 11 is negative, that means we might need to add two negative values to get to negative 11, which negative 3 and negative 8 add to get me to negative 11. So those are my two factors. So then I write out my new expression, changing the negative 11x into negative 3x and negative 8x, and then I group the first two and I group the second two, and I want to look at the factors of those values so I can figure out what the greatest common factor is of each set or each parenthesis. So 1, 3, 8, and 24. And so looking at x squared minus 3x, it looks like I have a x in common, but also a 1 in common. So I'll pull out a 1x, that's my greatest common factor. That leaves me with x minus 3. For negative 8x and 24, it looks like I have an 8 in common. Now, because I have a x minus 3, if I leave the negative inside, I don't get the same signs. And so I have to pull out a negative 3 to make them the same. And that's the only way grouping really works, is if your leftovers are the same for both. So I factored it out to get x minus 8 times x minus 3. And so I had all the same steps. So diamond method, factors, group them, use your parentheses, then take out the greatest common factor, and then write them in factored form. Step 2, or number 2, we have 2, 5, 3 is our A, B, and C. So 2 times 3 gets me 6. So I'm looking at factors of 6 to get me 5. That's a short list, which would be 2 times 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. So those are my factors. So 2x squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 3. I group the first two and the second two. Now I only have two numbers to really look at, 2 2s and 2 3s. So looking at the first two, they both have a 2 in common and an x, so I can divide those out. And so it leaves me with x plus 1. In the second two, I have only a 3 in common, so that pull that out. That leaves me with x plus 1. And so writing my answer in factor form, I get x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. And so I have the same 6 steps to get to the same answer. Okay, have fun.